Hey, Restorers, welcome to this episode of Restore AI with David Grove of Built and myself. I love these episodes. So far, I think they've been really helpful. I think this is only our fourth one, including the one that we recorded at Core. But
Yep.
out of the video series I've done, I have to say I've gotten a lot of feedback on this one, which is really exciting, and people that find this
Right.
very actionable and up to date. And I loved last time everything that you showed in Notebook LM that you could do. And so my team and I were kind of geeking out on that since you showed CNR stuff. And so I know today we're going to talk about ChatGPT a little bit, but first, quickly introduce yourself for people who are new here, and then talk about some of the updates that you know are going on in the AI space.
I am Dave Grove. I own BYLT Restoration out of DC, but also am running Restoration AI newsletter and podcast with Will Tigert. And if you aren't signed up to that, please get signed up to that as
Yes.
soon as possible. And then some of the updates coming through AI are mostly been through OpenAI. Most recently, of course, they came out with Sora 2, which is more of like a headline. People are making crazy videos and memes with that. And that's going to make some big waves in the way we advertise and the way we market very soon. Right now, it's in a lot of beta phases, but that probably won't last long. And then Gemini will, or Google will compete and things will change very fast, I'm
Yes.
sure. The other thing is anybody that does use anything for automations, including Zapier, N8N, or even their own automations that they code, things are about to take a big shift in that world as well, because I believe OpenAI and Google and Claude want in on that and they want to take that over. OpenAI is supposed to announce something today, so everybody should just keep their ears open and see what they announce because they could announce something that makes everybody's lives very much easier
Mhm.
and better.
Okay, perfect. I love it. Okay, so I am a big chat GPT person. That is mostly what I use for my large language model. And I feel like I get a lot out of it. I have other people watch me sometimes, which you probably have the same thing happen, where they're like, how did you do that? How did you get it to
Yeah.
do that? What was the prompt that you used? All of that. And it does take some learning, but once you figure it out, it is a really dynamic tool that you can do a lot with. And it's becoming more and more robust. I mean, creating slide decks and so many other things out of it that it can make for you. So I'm going to go ahead and toss it to you. What do you want to talk about and share about ChatGPT? What do you think are some of like the ground level things that people should know if they're kind of just starting to dabble in AI and just kind of don't know where to start?
Yeah, I'll jump into it and I'll share my screen.
Perfect.
Okay, cool. So this system really runs off of two things. Obviously, it can search the whole internet, but it wants to know about you too. So it's going to
Yes.
look through your chats, it's going to look through your archived information, and then it's mainly pulling off of the first chat you start with it. But for anybody that hasn't used it, or you've just started using it and you don't fully know everything about it, one of the biggest things you want to start with is personalization, which is down here. Under personalization, you want to enable customization. Here you can pick a different personality. I like sticking with the adaptive, cheerful personality, but there are other personalities there if you jive better with that. Um, and then this is where it gets really interesting. So you get custom instructions, you get to put about you, your occupation, and then more about you. And then you do want to make sure all of this stuff is turned on, including all the advanced stuff. And then it keeps memory, which I'm not going to show everybody my memory, but you can go in and you can delete pieces of memory if you don't want it to remember stuff like that. Like, for instance, if I'm talking to it about dog grass damage and it remembered that for some reason, I would probably go in and delete that one
Yeah.
because I don't really want it to
Yes.
that. Um, so with that said, this section can be highly, highly customized. And how I suggest doing that is you can go to ChatGPT voice mode and have a conversation with it. So if anybody hasn't ever used this before, you actually do talk to it back and forth. But what you want to tell it to do is ask me as many questions as you can so that I can personalize ChatGPT down, or personalized ChatGPT is for use. I don't know. I have to find the exact prompt, but it would be something so like I can use it to better my business
Yeah.
or make more sales or whatever your main goals are. Even if they're personal goals, you want to tell it what your personal goals are and just have a conversation back and forth with it. Then it'll start asking you questions. You answer all those questions. Then eventually it'll spit out what you should put into the custom instructions.
Okay.
So that's one thing.
Prompts for the prompt. Prompting the prompt
Prompts.
to get the
Well,
prompts.
it's prompts, and you can even Google it. There's people that have really good prompts for
Yeah.
built for this already. Um, but basically, in that section, you're just trying to figure out custom instructions, like what are the best custom instructions for me?
Hmm.
What should I write my occupation to be? And then this is the big one, more about you, because I used a really complex prompt to talk with it. And it actually says how I want to solve problems, how I scan the big picture, how I pivot. I like to protect my time. It's a little more in depth about me rather than just like I own a horse and a dog and I have two kids, right? Like
I
it's
like your
more
thing
about
about I'm similar. I pivot quickly if it's reversible. It's like that, yeah, what's your risk tolerance kind of thing and help me yeah, navigate that when it's yeah.
one thing I can do is I can share with you the kind of instructions on how to do this, and maybe you can share them with everybody. That might
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
Um, so then within your settings as well, personalization is just one setting. You have, of course, just how it looks, the language it's using, all of your notifications. You can connect other softwares to it. So your teams, I don't personally connect too much just because I don't want it to
Hmm.
get confused about what I'm doing. Although when you start doing automations, this will be important. Um, Data controls. This is important for me, and you can only do this if you pay a certain amount, but I don't improve the model for everybody else because I like my data to be private.
Yep.
Um, you can change kind of, you can look at your archive chats, your shared links, other things, and then your security if you have it for kids. And then here's where you can change into the different plans. And Pro actually gives you a much smarter version of this, which I don't know if many people know that. Pro is 200 a month, but
Okay.
you also get a research grade intelligence for that. So here's the models up
Yep.
here. Obviously, the new ChatGPT 5 has the auto instant thinking. And then if you pay for Pro, you get that Pro research grade. The only bad part about research grade intelligence is that it takes a long time to get an answer back, quite a
Okay.
long time. Um, so then you can also go back to the legacy model, which some people liked, especially for chatting back and forth with it.
Okay.
Um, so deep diving into some other things it can do, you can ask it to schedule something for you, like schedule an email, or I should say,
Hmm.
so then it'll actually schedule that email to hit me at 7 a.m. every day. And then I already have that one set up.
Yeah.
So that's kind of one of the
So
things.
you have it connected in through like what email platform do you use? Like it will actually
It just
schedule.
knows your email from your account.
Okay, that makes
So
sense.
it just uses
It's
that.
just sending you one that way. Okay,
hmm
that makes sense.
So, but you can also, so you can kind of have it automate and send an email about any kind of chat that you can imagine, right? Do a calculation off of, I don't know, do a new calculation every day for X, right? Or send me what's happening in these sports every day.
Yep.
It could be anything. So then it can do desktop notifications too, which I don't let it do quite yet. And but then you can edit, pause, or delete, and you can look at all your schedules.
Oh,
So that's one thing that's kind of hidden in there that it can do. Obviously, you can share
yep.
not only your chat, but you can share different GPTs you make. We'll get into that in a second. Uh, this is one of my favorite things, the dictate button. If everybody doesn't
Mhm.
know it's there, then you can just talk into it, types instead of trying to use your phone's not so good dictation tool.
Yep.
Um, of course, down here you can add on deep research, which is similar to ProGrade, but it's more like building a research paper for you than the ProGrade intelligence. Obviously, you can add your files and photos, create an image. Agent mode is where it actually operates something for you. That is in the process of probably being a lot better soon. Right now it's okay. It's still a little clunky though on how it works, but
Like
if you
operating.
wanted it to go order flowers for you or book
Okay.
a flight or book a hotel, it's pretty good at that kind of stuff. You can use your connectors, and then the hidden ones here are Canvas, Study and Learn, and Web Search. Canvas is an interesting one. Let's do chat. Study and Learn's also interesting. That's kind of them trying to do their own Notebook LM
Hmm.
kind of thing. Projects are kind of like Notebook LM as well, but they're limited, much more limited than Notebook LM is. Study and Learn is going to build more of like a whatever you give it, it's going to build more of a course, quiz, that kind of thing. But with Canvas, I'm going to make a little quick loan contract. So in Canvas, Canvas kind of looks like this, and then it'll shift the screen over so that you can chat with it usually once it's done.
And if you found these to be pretty solid, like you trust them enough, probably not for something big, but for something that's like, you
Never trust ChatGPT. Always run it through a lawyer after.
yeah, good tidbit.
And I mean, you can refine it though.
Sure.
Usually, if I'm asking for a contract, I say act like a contract lawyer. And then even after it makes it, I'll say, okay, now act like a business lawyer and review this
Yep.
contract. So you can refine it before you give it to your lawyer so that he's not, obviously, lawyer's time is expensive.
Yep.
So the better you can make it before you put it in their hands, cheaper your lawyer bill.
Absolutely.
Uh, so there's your thing. So when you want to go into Canvas, you have to hit edit, and then now you're in Canvas. So when you're kind of looking at it like this. So once I'm in there, then I can select anything and then ask ChatGPT about that specific thing. So let's just say make this more cover my butt. So then it's going to rewrite whatever I highlighted, right? Make it a
Yep.
little
Quite a
beefy.
bit more. It's adding a
Yeah.
lot more
Yeah.
verbiage.
So there was another, let's see, get it. Yeah. So like in these different sections, you can highlight whole sections, and then you can edit or explain there.
What's the biggest thing as you're doing this? What's the biggest thing that you and your team use ChatGPT for? Like across the board, would you say?
Biggest thing, probably just answering customers
Hmm.
and customers, clients, writing updates, those kind of things. Like basically emails back and forth would be the biggest thing. Obviously, on my side, dealing with lawyers a lot,
Hmm.
do it a lot. And then we use it for a lot of strategy too. I just, funny enough, was listening to somebody. They're saying that everybody wants AI to be more intelligent than humans eventually. That's kind of like the goal of the big companies, right? Which is pretty much impossible because
Yeah.
even when we get a good idea from AI, we are still the ones that have to choose whether that's a good idea or not,
Yes.
right? To move it forward.
Yes.
And that free will of saying, yes, this is a good idea or no, it's not. It has no idea whether it gave you a good idea or not. It can guess, it can give you a zero or a one and say, I think that's a good idea, zero, one.
Yeah.
But we're the ones that actually have to analyze that and figure that out for it, right? And I don't think even with all the technology they're building and everything, I don't think they're ever going to get to the place where they can actually decide whether that's a good idea or not
Yeah.
at a moral level, at a
Yeah.
higher level. But
Yeah. That makes sense.
um,
Especially because every decision, like we were talking about earlier, like risk aversity, even like everybody's so different in how they would make a decision that, yeah, that makes,
yeah, I mean, everybody, that's part of being human, right? We're
yeah,
all completely different at a
yep,
cellular level. The way we think, the way we think about risk, all of that. So the thing about the LLMs is it's all the same. We're just feeding it different zeros and ones, right?
yep,
And that will never change at its cellular level because it only has bits. It doesn't have cells. So that's where it kind of is limited, right? Like it doesn't know what a good decision is versus a bad one
yep,
necessarily. It can run math, but math also only goes so far, right?
yes,
Yeah.
yep,
So, with that said, so going into projects, not many people would know about projects. They're kind of interesting. Now they have some categories here. You can pick a category, or I can just say, um, oh, restoration is dev. So then when I create the project, like I said, this is pretty much Notebook LM is really what it is. You're feeding it files and then it's holding those files as the main source of data,
okay,
right?
okay,
And it's trying to feed off that main source before it goes looks anywhere else, which when you're outside a project, it's the opposite of that. It's
hmm,
looking everywhere else first and then looking at your file, right? So that's the difference. So it's just more weighted onto files. So I had like one for my app where I added on a lot of my product roadmaps, growth levers, all kinds of things. And then it feeds off that stuff before it actually gives me answers. Now, GPTs, these are most people know about these now, I think, but for
yep,
those who don't, there's hundreds of thousands of these things that people have made. There's several for restoration. Um, finds here. It's gonna find some like weird photo stuff, so we might have to say water. You can say water, you can say fire, whatever.
yep.
There's some of the popular ones.
Yep.
I don't see them. There's some really popular ones out there, but you can click on them. You can see how well they're rated. But I'll show everybody how this bot is made. So this bot uses a certain amount of knowledge to base most of its decisions it makes and how it responds. Um, so up here, over here are the GPTs you use or create. And then up here, you can create a new one. And after you are done configuring one, this is kind of what it looks like. It has a description. It has very specific instructions. It has conversation starters. You upload knowledge to it. So like ICRC or whatever,
Hmm.
uploading to it. And then you really would want it to have all the capabilities unless it's very specifically just an image generation bot or a canvas or like a contract bot or something. Then you can take capabilities away. So it has a creation tool. Let's just do this.
How long do you find? I mean, I'm sure it varies, but out of the GPTs that you created, how long on average does it take you to create one?
We can create one now in like two
Two
minutes,
minutes.
but it just depends what you're
Be a
making
good
it for.
one. Is it
A good one, still probably only talking 10 minutes or so. As long as you have the files and knowledge you want to give it,
okay?
it'll make it really quick. So we're going to say, make me a PNR bot for CNR magazine that helps decide where to publish. So it'll ask you a few questions, usually what you want to name it, what image you want to use, and then it might ask for some refinement. Um, so I don't want everybody to have to wait through this because it does take
Yeah.
5 to 10 minutes. But once you're done, it'll basically say, okay, here's your bot, and then I'll show you guys what one looks like. This business plan assistant. Yeah, this is one I made. So basically, after that, it would have spit out the CNR magazine PNR bot, right?
Okay.
Or assistant, whatever you named it. It gives it the instructions automatically, which you can update if you want them to be better. It'll give you all of this automatically. You add in all of your knowledge, and then you can recommend a certain model for it if you want it to answer with that model every time. And then you give it certain capabilities. And then you just start talking with it.
Hmm.
Like, how do I start my business plan? It's pulling off that data to make that. So that's how everybody makes them. They're very quick to make, very easy. So then going into your chats, you can rename your chats. Obviously, you can share your chats. You can also share your projects and
Mhm.
your GPTs. You can add these chats to a project if you want, which I have done that before with the app. And then, of course, you can archive these if you like to keep them organized, which I don't. Searching for chats was a newer thing in the last 6 months or so. That's really helpful. Codex, if you are coding, the new Codex stuff works pretty good. I don't know if it works as good as Claude, but I've heard it does well. Um, and then your library is usually just all of your images and stuff. And I think that's about everything with ChatGPT.
Do you ever think about this is kind of a conversation that a lot of people are talking about now, the importance of how information about your business comes up in AI tools. People are using that more and more than Google and things like that. So,
Yeah, it's a good
I have a
conversation.
little bit of a tool in this area, but I'm curious how you guys handle that area.
So there's several different things. You want to make sure your SEO company knows what they're talking about when it comes to a few things. JSON files, uh, making sure that you're actually showing up in things like Bing in
Hmm.
other places, because that's important. One of the most important things is on your web page that it's scrapable for something like ChatGPT because it's looking for specific things.
Yep.
The last thing is if you really want to feed it, so all of my employees don't pay for what I pay for, so they are training the model. Okay. You want to train the model with your company,
Hmm.
right? You should be training the model every day about what your company does, where you're at, what you do, because if you are training the model, then the model knows more about your business than everybody else's.
Uh-huh.
Uh, the people that are hiding from the model obviously aren't going to show up as quick.
Yep.
And we have had several jobs come through ChatGPT on the commercial side just because I think we use it so much.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, that's my opinion on that. I think SEO, this is very opinion based. I don't think it's going away anytime soon. It's an interesting world
Yeah.
because Google's Gemini is the only LLM that doesn't use Google Maps data to search.
Hmm.
And I don't know if they're setting that up in a way on purpose so that
Hmm.
later they can cut everybody out, which wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
But it's a theory. That's a
Yeah.
theory. Another theory is they just have their own way of doing it. Everybody else is okay using Google, and Google will still be the leader. Although by watching just trends, Google has lost big chunks of market share to Bing over the last many months. They're still, you
Yeah.
know, they're still huge and monopolize it, but it's changing. The landscape's changing. So SEO is something every business owner should just make sure that they're very educated about because it is gonna change very quickly over the next year of how all of that works.
My tool I was going to talk about really quick is HubSpot just came out with a grader that it's called AEO grader, and it looks at ChatGPT, Perplexity, and Gemini, and it interprets your brand. So it gives you a competitive analysis. It looks at your brand sentiment, gives you some scoring there, gives you
That's interesting.
recommendations on how to optimize your brand's visibility using AI and all of that. I'll send you the link afterward. Well, it's just hubspot.com/AEO grader, and I've done it. And there's ways to tweak it because you can do it by industry, by location. There's different ways, and it gives you a lot of really like full on recommendations at the end of how to help your brand moving forward, better market, better sell, all of that. So I recommend that tool. It's great.
Interesting. So is that free?
It is.
Ah, I'll have to check
Yeah.
that out. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
I can, let's see. I replace. I'll show you guys really quick. You see?
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I can't remember. I tweaked it quite a bit because it gives you kind of different um information so you can see these are the different ways that I've searched this and tried to put it together. So
Mhm.
um we'll do it in restoration and then it just takes a few minutes. But we use HubSpot for our CRM, but I don't feel like that matters in this tool of how it gives you the results. So see, it's like you're on track, but there's things that you, so there were other ways. The interesting part is you can tweak it. So there were other ways when I put it in that this did go up. I think in like publishing, in the publishing area, this was higher.
Oh, yeah, that would make sense. Different
So
service
yes.
metrics. Yeah.
Um, and so you can unlock it just by putting in, I think it's your email. Yeah. And we
That's
already
pretty
have it covered
awesome, though.
anyway. So then it gives you
That's
the
good.
full, yeah, we're obviously niche. Um, so yeah.
Very interesting.
So then yeah, it's very long. Gives you a whole thing.
That's the cool thing is there's so many new tools. I'm still trying to use several a week, and
Yeah.
It's really, really hard to keep up with because there's so much happening. But I also believe there's, and I think even the CEO of OpenAI has said there's a huge bubble about to burst at some point because they've dumped so much money into this that I believe it's almost 10 times or 20 times the size of like the housing market crash. That's how big the bubble is. So like, let's hope it doesn't crash, but they're all feeding money back to each other. So like
Yeah.
Oracle sends money to OpenAI, OpenAI
Mhm.
sends money to NVIDIA, NVIDIA sends money back to Oracle, and it's just this big circle of hundreds of billions of dollars. And you're like, what's, how's that work exactly?
It becomes a numbers on a screen game to me at some point where it's like, this is literally like, there's nothing tangible here. We're just,
Yeah.
it's numbers on a screen, and that becomes an odd thing.
Yeah. But it's good to keep, some sort of I guess, grounded mindset about it because
Absolutely.
I think it's a great tool and it's going to do a lot of great things and it's only going to keep changing in crazy ways. But be careful not to use some weird tools that are just shells of something else because those could end up hurting you later for sure.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
absolutely true. Okay, Dave, well, we talked about a lot, so thank you very much for all of that. And
absolutely.
how can people subscribe to the e-newsletter if they're not?
I think it's beehive restoration AI.com, and I will make sure to comment the link below.
Perfect. It's also, if you go to cnrmagazine.com, there's a link in the Restore AI
Okay,
landing
cool.
page as well. So
Awesome. Well,
perfect.
thanks, Michelle.
Awesome. Have a good one.